All right, so you already did this one in class. So I'm going to do the next two. So the first thing you do is you find your b, right? B is 1. And then you can either go up and right or down and right. Technically, I can go down and left, but if going backwards is more confusing. So I go up 1 and right 2. And 1 over 2 is 1 over 2. And that's your m. Notice I did the pink and blue. Y equals 1/2 x plus 1. All right. Same thing I did there is the same thing I'm going to do here. So my b is 3. And instead of going up and right, I go down and right. So I go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1, which is -1, which is my m. So my equation is y equals -x. I'm not going to put the 1, plus 3. Honestly, you want to put the 1? Great. I'm not going to mark it wrong. But if you want to give me less is more, that's great too. You did this one in class, okay? You know what that is. So this one we're going to do now. Now the problem is I'm trying to find my b. My b is supposed to be along my y, but there is no b. If there's no b and there's no m, your m and your b are undefined. Therefore, it doesn't follow any of the rules, and you go along the x-axis. So the equation is x equals 3. Remember, it doesn't follow any of the rules. Okay, let's go to this one. In this one, the problem is I don't know what my b is. I could guess, but I can't guess. I need to know it perfectly. What I can do is figure out my slope. So I know I'm going down and right. So what I need to do is down is my y. So I'm going to focus on my y, and I go from 2 to 1. From 2 to 1 is down 1. Then I go right 3. From 1 to 3 is 2, which is -1/2, which is my m. Okay? Now, another way to do this is I could have gone 1, 2, 3, 1, and that's down by 1 and up by 2. And -1 over 2 is -1 over 2. The problem is I don't know what my y-intercept is, because if I go up 1 and right 2, it looks like it's not going to cross. Therefore, I'm going to do y equals mx plus b. I'm going to pick one of the points. I'll just pick this one because I feel like it. I plug the 3 in for my x, the 1 in for my y, and the -1/2 goes in for my m. So I'm going to go 1 equals -1/2 times 3 plus b. You can either use your calculator or no. If this goes on top and this goes on bottom, it's -3/2 plus b equals 1. Add 3/2. Okay. If you're stuck on 3/2 plus 1, I'm going to help you be a little bit logical here. So if you 3/2, you have 1, 2, 3/2, and then you have that 1 right there. So this makes 1, and this makes 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2.5. But I'm going to write 2.5 as 5/2. That's my b. Now my equation is y equals -1/2 x. That's 5 over 2. All right. You did this one in class. So I'm going to do this one. I got my slope. I got my y-intercept. They gave me everything I need. Boom, I write the equation. Same thing. Pattern. 4 more each time, so I know it's a positive 4. And there's my start. I'm good to go. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This one you'll do it in class. All right, I got my slope. I got my y-intercept. I could write it like this, but that's ugly to me. I'll accept it, but ugly to me. Show me the most fancy if you can. Let's go to the next one. I got the slope, but the problem is I don't have my y-intercept. So I'm going to have to do the same thing here as I did here. So I'm going to first write y equals mx plus b. I'm going to take the -6. It goes in for x. I'm going to take the 4. It goes in for y. And then I'll take my 3, and it goes in for m. 4 equals 3 times -6 plus b. Simplify. The opposite of -18 is adding 18. And then I get my b is 22. That's just my b, that's not my equation. So be careful, you get so excited you finish. The focus is all about equations. Y equals 3x plus 22. And if you want to double check, you can. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Negative 18 plus 22 is 4. So as long as I know how to multiply, I'm good to go. Okay. This one you did in class. This one you did in class. So we'll do this one. Remember what parallel means. Parallel means you have the same slope. And I take the point. And now this problem is like your first one that you did on the previous page. Y equals mx plus b. Plug 0 in for x. Plug 4 into m. Plug 3 into y. And find b. Anything times 0 is 0. My b is 3. Y equals 4x plus 3. Some of you might have seen that when there's a 0, it automatically means it's your y-intercept. So you could have gone, hey, 0, 3, that is your b. Because of the 0. Okay. You did this one in class. So now we'll do this one. Now remember, what perpendicular means is, so let's show parallel means they never touch. Perpendicular means it's going to make an upside down T. So, perpendicular means first thing you do is you take the opposite, and then you flip it, which is negative 1/4. That is my m. Here is my b, because remember there's the 0, so technically I can just write it, or I can do the y equals mx plus b thing. I'm good to go. Let's look at the next one. Okay, perpendicular. So that means I'm going to take the negative 2/3. I'm going to do the opposite. And then I'm going to flip it. That is my m. This isn't my b this time because there isn't a 0. So I'm going to go y equals mx plus b. 6 goes in for y. 3/2 is my m. Negative 4 is my x plus b. Some of you will use a calculator, but what I'm hoping is that some of you go 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Careful about going too quickly and canceling, because you have to do the opposite. So my b is 12. There's my m, there's my b. Y equals 3/2 x. It's 12. You did this one in class, and you did this one in class, and you did this one in class. So now I'm going to do these for you. You need 2 things for an equation. You need m and you need b. There's different ways to do this. The way I taught it in class is I think it's easier to find a pattern. It's already set up. So this is getting smaller by 1, and this is getting bigger by 3. So negative 1/3 simplifies to m. And I actually got lucky on this one, because bam, there's a 0. So I already have my equation, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 6. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you could have done this. Y equals mx plus b, taken the point, and I'll pick the other one just so you can see that I'm talking about. Take the negative 3, put it in for x, the 7, put it in for y, and the negative 1/3, and put it in for m. And then what I would do is I would go 7 equals negative 1/3 times negative 3 plus b. 3 on top, 3 on bottom, bye-bye. Negative and a negative make a positive. -1, -1, b equals 6. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Let's go to the next one. When I see this one, this is going down by 7, and this is plus 0. So if I have negative 7 over 0, if I have 0 pieces of pizza, but I eat 7 pieces of pizza, that is not possible. That means it's undefined. You can't do it. Therefore, it means it's not following any of the rules. It's not a y equals like all the other ones. X equals 4. Last one. Zoom out a little bit so you can see the differences. This one's plus 0, and this is plus 9. 0 over 9. There are 9 pieces of pizza, and I don't eat any. That's my slope. But I noticed a pattern right here, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I see that both of them here have a 5, which means, excuse me, I can go straight to the equation y equals 5. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go y equals mx plus b, take the first point, 5 equals m, 0, times negative 3 plus b. Anything times 0 is 0, b equals 5. So if my m is 0 and my b is 5, y equals 0, x plus 5, which really just is y equals 5.